good. Do it Pastor Dan's back. Alright, well, brother, it is just like so obvious that the Spirit is united. And not because in any way that I'm disappointed because you spoke half my sermon, but that truly it confirms, absolutely. It's like, I'm just sitting there listening and I'm like, wow, wow. But it's the Lord's teaching me, is like, don't worry about that either.
Yeah.
You know, it's not about our presentation, it's not about how impressive, it's about just being obedient. And so, some of the things, again, I don't think we can hear them enough, so I won't apologize for repeating. But I want to start off with kind of a little fun, because my daughter told me, not because she told me, but I thought it was funny. On the way here she said, "Dad, I hope your sermon's interesting because I'm tired." So I went, "Oh, thanks, brother. I didn't notice it."
Out of the mouths of babes.
Just gonna sanitize.
What's that? Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'm not really with
That
it.
was
That was
nice
funny.
to buy.
I'm really
glad to hear
sanitizing
that.
continues.
I really am. I'm glad you did. So, my Q&A session, and my kids should be on top of this, is who was Joshua? Throw some things out there. Elders already given us some of them away. He's answered for us.
I'm just waiting for you guys to tell us the answer.
Anybody?
Kind of like Moses' sidekick.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah. Titus, what do you think?
The war commander.
Okay, exactly. That's what I had. General. He was a general. Any other thoughts?
Israelite?
Yeah, that's what I had. Yeah, one of those Israelites. Cool. Okay. I also had Joshua. This is just some of the things that came to mind when I thought of who was Joshua. I think sometimes we forget that Joshua was a slave. He knew what it was like to be under oppression. And he saw what it did to people's lives. He saw what it did to his life and his family. And I believe that God gave him some kind of desire, a hatred or something for it, because you can't come out of that. And just like so many of us, there's so much that God has brought us through, and it's almost like that's our passion. You know, I know Olu shared this with his testimony, and he's just got this passion that just, if anyone is sick or infirmity or something, he's like, no, I'm not going to let that happen in Jesus' name. And that's, wow, you know, I think about that with Joshua. One of the things that Olu mentioned, we also know, I think, is he was a spy. He was a man who believed God at his word. He was a man with a calling. He was a man of integrity. He was a man full of passion and zeal for God. And I love this one. He was a man who hungered to be in God's presence. We know the story. If not, I'll briefly share is whenever, a lot of times Moses would go out and he would meet with God, and Joshua would be, he was his assistant, you know. If Moses needed a drink of water, he needed whatever, he was there to get it for him. So he was always close by, but yet Joshua, sometimes when Moses would go back to the people, Joshua would stay back just so he could be close to God and spend more time in his presence. And that's just when I think about examples and leaders, I think we all probably agree that Joshua is definitely up there. And I mentioned this briefly last time when I spoke on Abraham. given the privilege to minister on these great men of faith. But we're losing sight of heroes today and what a hero looks like. And I'm thankful that God is always faithful. And He has given us heroes. And heroes, flesh and blood heroes, because He knows how we are. He knows sometimes God, I want to see it. Yes, I know you're everywhere, and I know your spirit, you're in control, but I want to see it. It just encourages us, and He knows that. I mean, we get encouraged, excited and stirred in our own, when we see Captain America, or just those things that just inspire us to do good and to do right, and where good conquers evil. And I think that's just a powerful thing about Joshua's life. And yes, we all know that we're human, we're frail, and Joshua, his testimony is there too. He wasn't a perfect man, but he was a man who strived to honor God and to give God his best. So what does Joshua represent? What does he represent when we look at the scriptures? What does he represent maybe to us? Something that came to mind, a few things that came to my mind and my heart was Joshua. Kind of going along with what others said. Joshua represents a new beginning. A fresh start. I promise being fulfilled. He represents strong leadership. Because I know we are all, young or old, and Bailey and Titus are just, I can refer to them because they're my kids, but they're just kind of getting a little glimpse of it. It's our parent. We feel as parents we don't allow too much influence in their life yet. We're training them, but they even see and hear is how the leadership in our nation is just falling apart, and how important it is for strong leadership. And strong meaning that men of godly character and integrity. It's vital, and we need it. And whether it comes from the men leading their homes and their families, not just government, but also leadership in our church and those who represent Christ. And it's vital. And Joshua is one of those that is just a great representative for us. And thankful for that, and God's allowed us to share and see this. I think he also represents, this is one of my favorites, is his unwavering faith. He is just one of those, he's like a pit bull. God said it, or we'll say he started off with Moses said it, but he knew that where Moses got it from. So God said it. That settles it. What more is there to discuss? I mean, you hear it when he's saying, like Olu briefly touched there, when he comes back he's with Caleb, he comes back from spying on the land, and he's like, seriously, what are you talking about? Literally, let's get in the moment for a second with him. And if we could transport back however many thousands of years ago. But Joshua, yes, fear is strong, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, but literally, they saw the most powerful army in the world wiped out in front of their eyes. And Joshua and Caleb said, what are you talking about? Why are you fearful? Why are you saying that he can't do what he can't deliver this land to us and give it to us? What are you talking about? He just wiped out Pharaoh's entire army, and you saw with your own eyes. But Caleb and him were refusing to say, what? Refusing to say, no, God. You said you're going to do this? Yeah, there's things that sometimes come at us we don't understand. Your tests, your trials, we don't understand them. But the bottom line is you said it, and you've been faithful. He was faithful to the promise of even the Israelites when he promised Joseph, prophetically through Joseph, and he said, "You're going to take my body out of this nation, God's going to come and he's going to bring someone, and you're going to leave him. He was faithful. He does not lie. And Joshua was determined to hang on to that. He was a man of, it's one of my favorite words, he was a man of fortitude. And if you don't know, I encourage you, Google that one. It's a cool one. Because it's just a person that just, it's my words together here. Despite persecution, despite things that come with their mind, and just maybe hammer them, whatever else, they stand firm. They don't move. They don't back down. He was a man of perseverance. He was a man of very high quality in God's eyes. A man of humility. He knew who he was, but he also knew who he wasn't. That's so important. We know his leadership, and we admire that when we see that, because we want strong leaders. We want them to be confident in God and who God has created them and designed them to be. But we also want them to know that they are powerless without God and without his Spirit daily filling them, without his Spirit daily leading them. How vital it is for that quality and that character of humility. So those were some things when I think of Joshua and the great example that he is to us. So let's go to the book of Joshua. Joshua chapter 1. And this is where I believe this is the word for the group. I firmly believe that. And I think it will confirm with all of us in our hearts and our spirits. We all there?
Joshua 1:1.
Just 1:1, yep.
Okay.
We're going to read. I'm going to read. You follow along. I just really like this version and how it reads, but if you can follow along, we're going to read the first 9 verses. And I will pause maybe from time to time. But I believe, brother, you're going to, this is just what we've been sharing. And I too, the Lord, even back, it was interesting, was as I was reflecting either today or yesterday, the same as you said, and it was when back in Potter's Clay, and he gave me the same word, and not understanding at the time, why is he telling me don't be discouraged, don't be afraid?